Today, we're gonna learn about XML, guys. So if you guys hear about XML, what do you guys think about? What comes to your mind? Extra, medium, and large라고? Why Chinese food? 다음에 website? Yeah, XML is a very self-explanatory thing. I don't think X my life. Someone I think it does. So it's not a programming language. So let's read about it, guys. Let's read what XML is, guys. So, XML, that's the logo, I'm guessing, is a markup language that defines a set of rules for encoding documents in a format that is both human readable and machine readable. So I'm guessing documents is only docx file. The www Consortium XML 1.0 specification, blah 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 blah. So the design goals of XML emphasize simplicity, generality, and usability across the internet. It is a textual data format with strong support via Unicode. We learned this last week. If you guys don't know what this is, it is on my YouTube, so if you want to check it out. For different human languages. Although the design of XML focuses on documents, the language is widely used for the representation of arbitrary data structures, such as those used in web services. We'll skip that. So applications, where is it used? The essential of why extensible markup language are necessary and explained at markup language. What? What? The essence of why extensible markup languages are necessary. Oh, is explained at markup language and at standard. So it is explained, guys. Sorry, I can't understand English today. So if you guys read about like the markup language and the standard generalized markup language, it does explain about, I guess, the essence. Hundreds of document formats using XML syntax have been developed, including RSS8 Atom, SOAP, SVG. Oh, SVG uses XML? Is this the SVG we just dealt with? And XHTML. XML-based format have become the default for many Office productivity tools, including Microsoft Office. I use that a lot. OpenOffice.org, never heard of it. I've heard about this. LibreOffice and Apple iWork. XML has also provided the base language for communication protocols such as XMPP. Applications for the Microsoft .NET framework uses XML for configurations and property lists. Are an implementation of configuration storage built on XML. You can unzip any PPTX. Yeah, dude, I actually did this for work and that was really cool because it was like a sensation. It's like new world. And I remember I had to copy and paste the XML like format if I wanted to change something about the layout and stuff. And paste it onto like Notepad++, because that one was a good tool to have. So old memories. Many industry data standards, such as Health Level 7, are based on XML and the rich features of the XML schema specifications. Many of these standards are quite complex, and it is not uncommon for a specification to comprise several thousand pages. In publishing, Darwin Information Typing Architecture is an XML industry data standard. XML is used extensively to underpin various publishing formats. So I think it's used in a lot of like printing services, online documentation service. I feel like this is definitely used in like, you know those like PDF signing pages? Have you guys heard about those where you like could sign PDF format, or like when they give you any type of contract through online? I think they use XML. I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like I think that's where it's being used, right? Is it what it's called? DocuSign? Do they use XML? I thought they would be using XML because I think the product that or the company that I was in was doing something similar. XML is widely used in service-oriented architecture. I have no clue what this is. What is service-oriented architecture? Question mark. Disparate system communicates with each other by exchanging XML messages. The message exchange format is standardized as an XML schema. This is also referred to as a canonical scheme. XML has come into common use for the interchange of data over the internet. So, what type of is service-oriented architecture? Is this kind of what I was mentioning about the doc signing thingy? Doc sign something something blah blah blah. So key terminology. The material in this section is based on the XML specification. This is not an exhaustive list of all the constructs that appear in XML. It provides an introduction to the key constructs most often encountered in day-to-day use. Character. An XML document is a string of characters. Almost every legal Unicode character may appear in the XML documents. Character reminds me of Unicode. Processor and application. The processor analyzes the markup and passes structured information to an application. The specification places requirements on what an XML processor must do and not do. But the application is outside its scope. The processor is often referred to as colloquially. What is this? What is 이건 뭐야? As an XML parser. Oh! So is like application and processor an example of Notepad++? Notepad++, right? Now, markup and content. The characters making up an XML document are divided into markup and content, which may be distinguished by the application of simple syntactic rules. Generally, strings that constitute markup either begin with a character and end with, what is this sign? Big greater than sign. Or begin with a character and end with a semicolon. Strings of characters that are not markup are content. However, in the CDATA, I'm guessing CData section, The delimiters are classified as markup, while the text between them is classified as content. So even the... So these are considered markups, these characters. In addition, white space before and after the outermost element is classified as markup. There's also tag, right? Hi, Kevin. Tags is a markup structure that begins and ends with it. So it's exactly like the markup. It's a type of markup. Tag is a type of markup, I think. And then element is a logical document component that either begins with a start tag and end with a matching end tag, and consists only of a empty element tag. What? Characters between the start tag and end tag, if any, are the element's content. Ah, this is a tag, like greetings. And then this is an end tag. And then this is line break. So I'm guessing this is kind of like the enter sign, right? Oh, sorry, I can't spell. Enter. 그 다음에 the element is this. Right? That's the empty tag? Then what's element? Logical document component that either begins with... Or is this whole thing an element then? 이게 다 element인가? An example is this. So I guess if it has a start and an end, and what is the middle section called? Empty tag, and then an empty tag. Yeah. So these brackets are markup. So I guess we're figuring out how to make a whole XML. These are markups. And then this is, if it has like information in between, that's a tag. And then an element is like a tag plus information plus end tag. 머리 아파. That's so hard. Colloquial just means something used in casual, familiar, or ordinary conversation, not something that's like an official term. Oh, ain't isn't? Oh, that's true. Ain't isn't. Oh. We don't end up with a line break, which is longer. The start colloquial. Colloquial. You guys spell it colloquial? Keel. Okay, thanks guys. The attribute. An attribute is a markup construct consisting of a name-value pair that exists with a start tag or empty element tag. An example is image src ... where the name of the attribute is src. And alt. Their value is Madonna. Ah, okay, we know attribute. Attribute is self-explanatory. So class is an attribute, right? So this is like, if you're familiar with HTML, then it works. Queel. And then XML declaration is XML documents may begin with a XML declaration that describes some information about themselves. Okay, you're declaring which version you're using and which UTF, the Unicode that we learned last week. Thank you, Taza, for the Prime sub. Thank you, 감사합니다. So characters and escaping. XML documents consist entirely of characters from the Unicode repertoire, except for a small number of specifically excluded control character. Any character defined by Unicode may appear within the content of an XML document. So it is kind of connected so much to Unicode. Wash. So there's also a certain type of Unicode that represents the important entities of XML. Look at the international use. Wow. XML supports the direct use of almost all Unicode character and element names, attributes, comments, character data, and processing instructions. The following is a well-formed XML document including Chinese, Armenian, and Cyrillic characters. 대박이다. So Korean can work? Visual Studio uses XML? Do they? I want to see a Korean version. 이거 한국 걸로 보고 싶다. I want to see how Korea uses XML. 와, 대박이다. I didn't think that you could use everything. Like, multiple... because it's Unicode. So, Unicode XML gets changes into the Unicode stuff. So it doesn't matter which language you write in. That's crazy. 진짜 대박이다. Syntactical correction and error handling. XML specification defines an XML documents as well as well-formed text, meaning that it satisfies a list of syntax rules provided in a specification. Some key points in the fairly lengthy list includes all of these, which I'm not going to read, but it seems like there's a lot of points for some specifications. Yeah, like start and an empty element tag that delimit elements are correctly nested. So you need a start. If you have a start tag, you need an end tag. Names are case sensitive, and that tag, both start and end tag must match exactly. Tags cannot contain any of the characters, all of these, nor a space character. Really? I don't know that. So there's also a document type definition. So it seems like that's the old language for XML, and that there's also have following benefits of using a document type definition. Wow, there's actually a lot to XML, I think. Wow. So why do they shorten every single thing? Look at this. Relax NG, which stands for regular language for XML next generation. I swear, coding, like, programmers are so lazy. They have to shorten everything, guys. Was initially specified by Oasis and is now a standard. It's written in either an XML-based syntax or a more compact non-XML syntax. They have a simpler definition and validation framework that XML schema than XML. making it easier to use and implement. So I'm guessing this is like the next step after XML. It also has the ability to use data type framework plugins. Oh, okay. We aren't lazy, we are efficient. That's true. That's true. If you're trying to shorten things, it's not a bad thing. Like, you know how a lot of Zoomers shorten a lot of things? Like, I was shocked. Someone said I was FOMO. I was like, dude. What is FOMO again? Oh, that's a good question. Will they name it to PG? Yeah, FOMO is... I don't know. It's like, I don't know. When do you use FOMO though? I was shocked when someone used it. I was like, really? You really want to use it? Other than that, there's also related specifications that's involved with XMLs. I actually heard about XQuery before. So if you want to spend time reading it, don't see much interesting thing. Programming interfaces. The design goal of XML includes it shall be easy to write programs which process XML documents. Despite this, the XML specification contains almost no information about how programmers might go about doing such processing. The XML infocet, I don't know where I got the R, sorry guys. Infocet specification provides a vocabulary to refer to the construct within an XML document, but does not provide any guidance on how to access this information. A variety of APIs for accessing XML have been developed and used, and some have been standardized. That's true. I think this is used. Yeah. XML is like a weird thing to work with. So when you write in your resume when you've done XML stuff, oh, it is InfoSet? Oh. Thank you. What do you say? Like, do you put this in like the programming like division saying that you've done programming? But it's not a language, is it? Like, do you say you code? You programmed XML? So existing APIs for XML processing are stream-oriented APIs. I'm guessing it's not the same stream. Tree traversal APIs, XML data binding, declarative transmission languages, There's simple APIs for XML, stands for SAX. Pool parsing, document, So, ooh, there's finally the history of where XML came from, guys. No one puts XML as a skill set in resume? It's assumed that you guys know XML? Really? Wow. I've never seen XML appear in a resume before? 스키즈님 어서 오세요. You say you know one of the APIs? No, I don't know the APIs. No. It was a different section, I think. 자, for the history, the XML is an application profile, of SGML. Are you saying a resume that you know one of the... Oh, you say... Oh, sorry. I read it as... Are you saying you know? Sorry. I can't read. So you say you know one of the APIs. Okay. Sorry, I can't. I'm having a tired Jinri moment. So you say, hey, I know how to do stream-oriented APIs. I read. I know. So this is maybe type of skill work that you guys want to write it. Cause then when I put... Oh my god, I was so stupid that because I did a bit of XML work at my internship, and I didn't know how to write it. I didn't know it was like a skill set that every programmer knew how to do. When I mentioned this to a lot of programmers, they must have laughed so hard. I should change that on my resume, guys. Put it in my to-do list. Like when you do CSS in Tweety, you know DOM. You just say you do DOM. What does DOM stand for? Yeah, because my friend also said you don't say you do UI UX programming. Apparently you're supposed to say you're a UI UX designer. Document object model? Oh. Okay. Well, let's learn about the history, guys. The versatility of SGML, which I don't know what it stands for dynamic information display, was understood by early digital media publishers in the late 1980s, prior to the rise of the internet. By the mid-1990s, some practitioners of SGML had gained experience with the then new World Wide Web and believed that SGML offered solutions to some of the problems that web was likely to face as it grew. Dan Connolly added SGML to the list of W3C's activities when he joined the staff in 1995. Dude, this has been a very long history. Dude, it's as old as I am. It could be in one of the bullet points under a project. Oh, instead of in the separate programming section. Work began in mid-1996 when Sun Microsystems engineer John Bosak developed a charter and recruited collaborators. Bosak was well connected in the small community of people who had experience both in SGML and the web. What is SGML though? But this is all back in 1990s, which makes sense because it's supposed to be basically what Minnie mentioned of representation of elements on a web page, right? Now, XML was compiled by a working group of 11 members supported by a roughly 150 member interest group. Technical debate took place on the interest group mailing list, and issues were resolved by consensus, or when that failed, majority vote of the working group. A record of design decisions and their rationales was compiled by Michael Spearberg McQueen on December 4th, 1997. So I guess most important thing, it was made by 11 working group. And then they had a debate related to mailing list and issues that was resolved by consensus. They also James Clark served as a technical lead of the working group, notably contributing the empty element syntax and the name XML. Other names had been put forward for consideration, including MAGMA, Minimal Architecture for Generalized Markup Application, or SLIM, SLIM, Structured Language for Internet Markup, MGML, Minimal Generalized Markup Language. The co-editor of the specifications were originally Tim Bray and Michael Spearberg McQueen. Oh, okay. Halfway through the project, Bray accepted a consultant engagement with Netscape. Wow, Netscape, guys! How old is that? Provoking vociferous protest? What is this word? What is that? Vociferous? From Microsoft. Really? Oh, there must have been some history of Netscape back then related to Microsoft. Bray was temporarily asked to resign the editorship. This led to intense dispute in the working group. Da-da-da-da-da was solved with Microsoft as third co-editor. They worked together. Oh, they never met face to face though. And the design was accomplished using a combination of email and weekly teleconference. And they got this work done? Wow, they are the leading group of metaverse. They are the next to they are the 뭐냐? Metaverse initiatives. Initiatives. Sources. XML is a profile. Do we need... Oh. And then there's two versions of XML. XML 1.0 and XML 1.1. Seems like there's a valid Unicode characters in XML 1.0 and 1.1. There's also 1.2 and binary XML. Now, in terms of criticism, XML is... and its extensions have regularly been criticized for verbosity, complexity, and redundancy. Oh, tell me about it! Netscape was Internet Explorer's rival? Oh, that's true. Every rival has some issues, right? And I do agree with all three when I used it. I hated it. I don't know why. It was a hard thing. Mapping the basic tree model of XML to type system of programming languages or databases can be difficult, especially when XML is used for exchanging highly structured data between applications, which was not its primary design goal. However, XML data binding system allowed applications to access XML data directly from an object representing a data structure of the data in the programming language used. This is a very long sentence, by the way. Which ensured type safety rather than using the DOM or SAX to retrieve data from the direct representation of XML itself. Did you guys know that from this paragraph or this line to this line, that's one sentence? Using it with typed language was the worst part? Yeah, I think it was much easier when Notepad++ 2 came out because it naturally like organized the text file more like an HTML style. I don't know, maybe it was my different maybe it's like me getting mixed up with different languages. But I just remember when I parsed to XML file and I opened it, it was just like text. Line. And like for me who hates reading books, it was like, this is disgusting. And that's what I thought programming was at that time. Because it was my first quote-unquote language that I've encountered related to coding. So, yeah. And I got tricked because they said it was a consulting job. It was not even close. Anyways. Other criticism attempt to refute the claim that XML is a self-describing language. Is it? JSON, and S expressions are frequently proposed as simpler alternatives that focus on representing highly structured data rather than documents. Oh. Because XML is very old. However, W3C standardized XML specifications offer a broader range of structured XSD data types compared to simpler serialization formats. So that's XML. Hi, Emma. Conclusion? 역시. I thought it was disgusting. And it is still disgusting. I actually haven't seen anyone near me use it. So I guess if you just like not really seen much. I don't know about you guys, but I don't really see it much. Anyone work with XML? Most cases you can use JSON instead. Oh, okay. And there are other alternatives. Then XML. Yeah. It is similar to HTML, but XML is related to more like documents. So I definitely seen it a lot when I was parsing DOCX. So definitely when they mentioned about Microsoft Office, that's when I was like, yeah, I've seen it there. So, oh, and then the biggest thing I learned is don't put this in your resume. Just put the API, right? Just put the API. You usually see XML in configuration. So XML in configuration, okay. Stardew Valley saves files in XML? Aha! Why? Games use XML to save. What? Is there a better... Is it lighter? Like, in terms of, like... capacity-wise? Because it's a 2D game, that you don't need, like, a fancy method of saving the data? So you could just use XML to save it? I guess you could hack Stardew Valley then. Easily. If you know how to work with XML. And you know the APIs. Personally love doing the assignments with LaTeX, so I might like... Is it LaTeX Korean or is that like global? I feel like I've seen it in Korea. Most use JSON now? Okay. Ah, the newer APIs allow JSON responses. XPath is a useful API to learn to walk XML. XPath. For learning XML. When you develop mobile app in Java? The Android LaTeX? LaTeX 그거 한국 그거 아니에요? like payment system etc with a very awful layout. So Android Studio the design is XML. LaTeX이 아닌가? 그런 거 비슷한 거 있지 않아요? Is there something similar? I only learned that because we wanted to host a game with more than 4 people, had to edit the save. Oh, that's really cool. I guess that's one good thing about if you know how to program stuff, right? LaTeX is markup language to render mathematical formula. Oh, I didn't know. There's actually some type of Korean like app related to finance that uses, I think it's called LaTeX. I'm not sure, but it sounds similar. Stardew Valley is made with mono game framework and it has saving things into XML pretty easy. Oh, he also used XML for saving the stages? When's that game coming out, Kuro? So actually, it's useful when you want to develop easy 2D games. Or mono game. I guess mono game framework uses XML. Was it 2D? Can I say it's like a 2D for 2D? Or compatible? Or best choice? For 2D game? It doesn't have to be 2D, even like 3D and 4D? Like, but you can't do like a VR game using mono game, can you? So when you guys say the word configuration files, what does that exactly mean? Like save인가? Many PhDs and researchers in general use LaTeX to write their research paper. Wait, why do I remember LaTeX so much? 뭐더라 너가? Ah, what does this use? I don't think VR exists in mono game. Oh, it's just a game engine? Ah, game engine. Oh. R Markdown and the LaTeX is the most used tool. Ah, it just be data? Oh. Ah, so it's just good way to save data. XML is good way to save data. Cause it just combines into a long... Oh, I kinda wanna try mono game. Hey, should we develop game now? Should we go make our own game? 게임이나 우리 만들어 볼까? Hey, maybe... What's the famous game engine that people always use that to program games, guys? Unity! Thank you. I'm used to Unity. I heard of Unity more. Study Unity next? Oh, that'll be fun. Anyways, that's all I got for XML. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them. Other than that, that's all I have for XML. I hope you guys enjoyed it. So, thank you.